And June, here comes JBL coming to the ring. We're live here in the Solar Arena for GTW Dystopia. I'm your host, Infinite Fantasy. "20 years. It has been 20 long years since I've been one half of a tag team known as the Acolytes. 20 years ago, that jackass Farouk walked out on me. Walked out on not just our partnership, but our friendship. Now he comes here to my show and out of the blue wants to hold me accountable for something he did decades ago. Damn right, I'm going to hold you accountable. I was your brother, man. Your best friend, and you chose success over me. Do you hear yourself, man? I had a lot going on, and you wanted to say something stupid to our boss. I was supposed to just throw all that away? Before you let all your stock market get to your head, you would say the same damn thing as me, and you know it. We were ride or die, the APA. We were loyal to our business and to each other. You changed, man. 20 years, Farouk. 20. That was 20 years ago. 2 decades of you going silent on me, disappearing, staying out of the ring. Now, out of nowhere, you decide you want to be a wrestler again? That I need to pay for what? Not quitting when you got yourself fired? Now all of a suddenly you want revenge? Why now? You know what? It doesn't matter. You know why? I know, Bradshaw. Educate me. Because in your attempt to screw me, in my attempt to screw you, we ironically helped each other qualify for the Survivor Games Gauntlet tomorrow night. We are the first 2 contestants in that match, and before anyone else can get in on the fun, I'm going to make it my sole purpose to eliminate you. Then you can march your sorry ass out of my life again, while I become the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Then I never need to see your sorry ass ever again. Damn. And there you have it. Tensions are high between John Bradshaw Layfield and Farouk. These two once brothers in arms. These two once best friends. Now at each other's throats. They will be the first 2 contestants to enter the Survivor Games Gauntlet match tomorrow night on pay-per-view, which will be live streaming right here at Infinite Fantasy at twitch.tv, which will be starting 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central tomorrow night. However, speaking of the Survivor Games, we have a qualifying match for the women's division for the Survivor Games Gauntlet, as we have Diva Wrestling legend Lita taking on the return of the timeless Toni Storm right here on Dystopia.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring from Sanford, North Carolina, Lita!
Here comes Lita, a legend in the history of women's division in all pro wrestling. She is the one that has paved the way for all the modern women wrestlers here tonight, being one of the first major competitors in the ring, originally running with Matt and Jeff in the Hardy Boys, has become one of the most dominant women to ever step foot in the squared circle.
And her opponent, from Gold Coast, Australia, Toni Storm.
And here she is, the timeless Toni Storm. Another legendary woman in the history of pro wrestling. Former AEW Women's Champion. Before being taken out by Archangel months ago, she was supposed to be the #1 contender for the Grand Tour title, who was meant to be Steven Dynamite's original opponent at Summer Bash. However, the Old Gods had different plans for her and decided to take her out to get a shot at the Grand Tour title themselves. Charles Elliott made that plan backfire. However, Toni Storm has been out of action for months now. Coming back here to GTW, she'll have a chance at the women's title if she can defeat Lita here tonight. Either way, I can only expect this match to be absolutely legendary. Here's the bell. Lita starting off strong with a clothesline on the Toni Storm. And she comes with a moonsault. Toni Storm slightly getting out of the way to counter Lita. Nobody home, and now the timeless Toni Storm gaining the advantage over this legendary wrestler, Lita. What we have here is a woman who is in her prime, the timeless Toni Storm, former AEW champion, taking on a veteran like Lita, a former WWE Women's Champion. Both of them have held Women's Title Gold, and whoever wins tonight will be competing in the Survivor Games Gauntlet tomorrow for a chance to win the vacated GTW Women's Title. And Toni Storm reversing the armbar onto Lita. And Lita coming with the clothesline. Toni Storm dodging the attack though, and a backbreaker by Toni Storm as she goes for the pin. However, Lita kicks out. Toni Storm now throws Lita over the ropes. She goes under the ring. And here's Lita going for attack to the midsection. And a drop kick onto Toni Storm. The two women fighting outside the ring now. And Toni Storm with a sidewalk slam onto Lita. Here's Lita throwing in those punches on the Toni Storm, doing everything she can. The goal here is to qualify for the Survivor Games match. It doesn't matter how they do it. Lita will not be above winning by a countout. Or I could be wrong. Lita just broke the count right there. Bring in and out of the ring. Maybe a countout might be beneath this wrestling legend. And oh my god, Lita just completely throwing Toni Storm right near the announcer desk, right into the timekeeper's table. And Lita slamming Toni Storm right into the announcer's desk. There's Lita yelling she's no big deal as Toni Storm rushes to the ring with a German suplex, bridging into a pin. One, Lita kicks out. And you see Toni Storm now playing with Lita here. She's going in for those strikes, trying to back Lita into the corner. Lita trying to rush out, and here's Toni Storm coming in with a backbreaker on Lita, and there she is, applying the pressure, trying to bend Lita in half. And the two grapple up. Lita with an Irish whip She goes under. She goes over. And there's a tilt-a-whirl slam by Lita onto Toni Storm. Toni Storm immediately reciprocating now. With another backbreaker onto Lita. Lita though, getting her receipt, kicking the side temple of Toni Storm. And now here she is, sizing up her opponent. And a fisherman suplex by the timeless Toni Storm here as she goes to drag Lita towards the middle of the ring, looking to get the win here. And here comes a sharpshooter by Toni Storm, a submission hold onto Lita. Will Lita tap out here? No, Lita manages to scrim her way out as Toni Storm now attempts another maneuver. Continuing the assault on Lita, now sizing her up for the finisher move. However, Lita reverses Toni Storm there, getting a shot into the back of the knee. Lita rolling out of the way, Toni Storm getting the grapple in, an Irish whip. And Lita comes in hot with a clothesline. And here comes a reverse twist of fate by Lita. Will this be enough to get the win? 1, 2. Toni Storm kicks out. Lita's two counterparts, the Hardy Boys, will also be in action tomorrow night in a 30-minute table Iron Man match against the Dudley Boys as they will challenge them for the tag team titles. Lita going for the pin here. 1, 2, and Toni Storm again kicks out. If Lita wins tonight against the timeless Toni Storm, she will be joining the Hardy Boys in celebration, possibly both of them, all three of them, coming out with championship gold at the end of tomorrow's pay-per-view event, Survivor Games. And Lita now has Toni Storm in the finals carry. Toni Storm reverses. And here comes the pin. And Toni Storm using the ropes as leverage. It just goes to show you that even Toni Storm will do anything it takes to achieve qualifying for the gauntlet, enabling her to compete for the women's title. It is the most prestigious title in the women's division. And Lita throwing Toni Storm 10 feet in the air, face first into the ring canvas. And Lita now with a sidewalk slam on the Toni Storm. 1, 2, and Toni Storm gets the shoulder up. Toni Storm rolls out of the ring. Lita has bad intentions going on that top rope. As old as she is, she's still got it. She's still able to pull out those high-risk maneuvers, those moves that make Lita so dangerous, the moves that put her on the map in the world of pro wrestling. And now, with Toni Storm outside the ring, Lita slowly dissecting her opponent in front of our announcer's table here. And Lita with a twist of fate outside the ring. And she's sizing her up. She might be looking for a knockout and looking to disable Toni Storm long enough to get a ring out here. No, Lita going in the ring. Looks like she's looking to win. It's the old-fashioned when she gets onto the top rope. Leg drop by Lita. Will this be enough to put her away? Here comes the count for the win. 1, 2, no! I don't believe it. I truly cannot believe it. I am flabbergasted by this. Despite the DDT, the twist of fate, and leg drop, Lita wasn't able to pick up the win. She goes for another DDT on a Toni Storm. Will it be enough this time? 1, 2, and 3. Lita defeats Toni Storm and now qualifies for the Survivor Games Gauntlet match.
Here is your winner, Lita.
Congratulations to this wrestling legend. Lita will be competing against 7 other women tomorrow night at the Survivor Games pay-per-view for the Women's Championship. When we come back, we'll be having another qualifying match, this time for the men's division for the Survivor Games Gauntlet match tomorrow night, as the criminal Aiden Andrews takes on the return of Jon Moxley after a quick break. Victoria Wong here. I am with Director of Grand Tour Wrestling, Charles Elliott. Mr. Elliott, with the which preventing last week's qualifying match from happening, last week the 8th slot for the Survivor Games Gauntlet is now vacant. Any idea who or if anyone will be filling that spot? As I said on Brawl, I like to think that I am a fair and unbiased director, even with the old gods. Ember Charlotte was indeed screwed out of her opportunity. However, she was not the only one. I know another wrestler who had lost a great opportunity a while back, and tonight I will give both of them an opportunity to rectify that. Ember Charlotte will compete in a second qualifying match tonight against a mystery opponent. Welcome back, folks, and we just got word from director Charles Elliott himself in an interview with Victoria Wong that there will be a second qualifying match for the women's gauntlet match tomorrow night, and that will be our dystopian main event here, as Amber Charlotte will be taking on a mystery opponent. The winner will be the 8th and final woman in the Survivor Games Gauntlet match for the vacant Women's Championship. Who that mystery opponent will be, we will not know until tonight's main event. However, coming up next, we have a qualifying match for the men's Survivor Games Gauntlet match, as we have the criminal Aiden Andrews taking on the return of Jon Moxley to determine the 8th and final man for the men's division for Survivor Games tomorrow night. The winner of tomorrow's gauntlet will be the #1 contender for the GTW World Heavyweight title. Ladies and gentlemen, the criminal, Jon Moxley, right here, right now, on Dystopia.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Toledo, Ohio, weighing in at 250 pounds, Aiden Andrews.
Aiden Andrews, the criminal, the former GTW European champion who has recently lost the championship to the Russian gladiator Andre Armstrong, will now be competing against one of the most dangerous men in pro wrestling, in modern day pro wrestling, Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, who has been taken out of action a couple of months ago in the hands of Hercules after competing in a steel cage match, is making his return tonight. And if Jon Moxley can win tonight's matchup, he will have a chance to get his redemption against Hercules, as he will compete against him for the World Heavyweight title. All he has to do is get through Aiden Andrews tonight and win the gauntlet in tomorrow's pay-per-view event. However, for Aiden Andrews, this is also about redemption. Beating Jon Moxley will put him in tomorrow's gauntlet, allowing him to become the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, redeeming him from losing the European title to Andre Armstrong a couple of weeks ago. which one of these two wrestlers will be on the path of redemption here tonight. Will it be Aiden Andrews or will it be Jon Moxley?
And his opponent from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing in at 225 pounds, Jon Moxley.
Here comes Jon Moxley, making his way to the ring. This man, one of the most dangerous men to ever compete in the sport. Pain is his ally, his absolute friend. There is nothing he will not do to obtain victory. In AEW, he once held the heavyweight championship as a hostage for nearly a year until finally losing to Hangman Adam Page. In the WWE, he was known as Dean Ambrose, as he was one of the 3 members of the Shield along with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And here comes the bell. Aiden Andrews starting off strong against Jon Moxley. The two grappling up in the middle of the ring. Here comes Jon Moxley, bringing Aiden Andrews into the corner. The referee trying to break them apart. And there's Moxley with a cheap shot across Aiden Andrews there. And there's Moxley going in for the German suplex. We know Moxley is not known for playing nice. He'll do everything and anything to attain victory. He loves causing agony and pain to his opponents and seems to be immune to feeling it himself. Case in point, there he is, stomping on the hand of the criminal Aiden Andrews, trying to break the hand and now looking to tear the leg ligament right off the joint there. See Moxley now playing with his opponent here. Aiden Andrews barely able to get to his feet at this point. And two have a tight grapple as Moxley gets behind Aiden Andrews. Aiden Andrews struggling to get out of the hold. See Moxley with that vice grip, unwilling to go, but there's Aiden Andrews out of nowhere. Then Andre putting Jon Moxley into a headlock here. And then Moxley now reversing. He comes in with a right cross. He attempts a German suplex. However, receives an elbow and courtesy of the criminal Aiden Andrews. Andrews now with an armbar onto Jon Moxley here. Moxley reversing the armbar onto Aiden Andrews. An amazing technical display by both these athletes. And you see Moxley adding on even more pressure onto Aiden Andrews here. And Moxley now coming in with an arm drag, followed by a clothesline, knocking the head nearly off of the criminal here. And Moxley targeting his opponent, a knee right into the face of Aiden Andrews. And Moxley now clotheslines Aiden Andrews right out of the ring. Jon Moxley now hammering the knee of Aiden Andrews, doing everything he can to make sure he can't walk. And there's Aiden Andrews with a desperate maneuver, kicking Moxley right in the face. The criminal with a double axe hammer into the back of Jon Moxley here. And there's Moxley's head going right into the steel ring post. I can hear that metal echoing all the way across the arena here. And there's Aiden Andrews throwing Moxley into the barricade. The referee at 8 on the ring out. And Moxley gets in the ring at the very last second. Just another second and Moxley would have been counted out and would have lost this qualifying match against Aiden Andrews. And it's Moxley with a chop to the chest. Aiden Andrews with the receipt. The two men going back and forth in a battle of strength and will. And Moxley with another hard chop to the chest. Andrews coming back at him. Another strike by Andrews. Moxley attempting to fight back, but Andrews gaining the upper hand on Jon Moxley here. And the two now going at it. Going fist for fist, blow for blow in the middle of the ring. And Andrews coming in with the Irish whip. And a spine buster by the criminal Aiden Andrews as he goes for the pin. 1, 2, but Moxley kicks out. As Aiden Andrews sizing him up, Jon Moxley catches the foot. And there's a sleeper hold by Jon Moxley. Will Aiden Andrews tap out here? Andrews trying to reach for the rope. Moxley got in the middle of the ring, but Aiden Andrews manages to squirm his way out of the submission hold. And there's an elbow drop by Jon Moxley. Aiden Andrews rolling out of the ring here, trying to catch a breather. Moxley in pursuit. An amazing counter by Aiden Andrews, the criminal, now completely fired up as he gets that amazing reversal onto Jon Moxley, now rolling him back into the ring. Jon Moxley with that arm drag taking down Aiden Andrews. He's slamming his head full force into the ring canvas. And now driving his knee right into his opponent's arm. Moxley talking to the opponent, wanting Aiden Andrews to get back on his feet. Another huge chop to the chest. Aiden Andrews able to counter with an arm drag onto Jon Moxley. Moxley barely able to get up through the ropes, and the criminal now spears Moxley outside the ring. The referee starting to count out. Aiden Andrews getting to the top turnbuckle. He's going to fly outside. Atomic elbow drop right off the top rope outside the ring. You can see how badly Aiden Andrews wants to win this. For both men, this is about redemption. Andrews with the count. But Moxley kicks out. Again, this is about redemption for Jon Moxley. This is about getting a chance to become #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title, a chance to face off against Hercules one more time after being put away in that steel cage match. For Aiden Andrews, this is about redeeming himself to become #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title after losing the European title to Andre Armstrong. Here goes Aiden Andrews setting Moxley up. Pedigree. Here comes the pin. 1, 2, but Jon Moxley kicks out, and you can see that Andrews just cannot believe it. Andrews wondering exactly what is it gonna take to keep Jon Moxley down. He's now sizing him up. He goes for the Irish whip. Jon Moxley reverses. A clothesline right out of the ring. Aiden Andrews going right over the top rope there. See Moxley stalking his prey. Andrews waiting for him outside the ring. Moxley coming in with a devastating knee. And let's just look at him, just playing with his opponent there. And another knee by Jon Moxley, followed by a shoulder check. And looks like Aiden Andrews is hurting. I don't know how it's going to take. And there's Aiden Andrews reversing on Jon Moxley, throwing him right into the steel stairs. You can see that Aiden Andrews just had enough of this. Now, first throwing him into the stairs. Now, hammering away at Moxley. And here goes Aiden Andrews circling the ring right now, making his way back inside, and both men get back inside just in the nick of time. Moxley now with a shoulder tackle, another shoulder tackle. He's coming off the ropes, and he slips him right into the corner, followed by a bulldog. And John Moxley, once again, with a sleeper hold on Andrews. There's nowhere for Andrews to go. He's right in the middle of the ring. He's too far from any side of the ring to grab a rope break. But sees John Moxley let him go, looking to torture him a little more. Moxley being the 60s, and there's the stomp. Moxley with a stomp, looking to win this by pinfall. 1, 2, 3, and John Moxley advances to the Survivor Games Gauntlet tomorrow night. We now have all 8 competitors for tomorrow's pay-per-view.
John Moxley!
And you can see the look on John Moxley's face. He can taste victory. He'll be up against 7 other men tomorrow night for the chance to become #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship against Hercules. Survivor Games will be live on Infinite Fantasy at twitch.tv for our pay-per-view event tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And we now have all 8 competitors for the men's gauntlet match. We're going to have Adam Cole, Karrion Kross, Barry Jenkins, John Bradshaw Layfield, The Great Khali, Rhino, Farouk, and now John Moxley. The winner of this gauntlet tomorrow night at Survivor Games will become the #1 contender to face Hercules for the World Heavyweight Championship. Coming up still tonight, we got the women's tag team titles on the line as Havoc will be defending against Truth and Consequences, and our main event, Amber Charlotte, will be going up against a mystery opponent to determine the 8th woman for tomorrow's Survivor Games Gauntlet Turmoil match tomorrow night to determine who will be the new women's champion. But first, we're going to have a quick break. Welcome back, and we have Stephen Dynamite making his way to the ring, here to address the crowd here at Jersey City. Jersey City, your chosen one is here. First order of business, I would like to welcome back my good and close friend Amanda Price to GTW. Thank you so much for saving my ass on Brawl. I missed you so much. I look forward to us teaming together with the Fallen against the Old Gods. Second order of business, I wish to call out Damian Elliott to the ring. Please, man, I just want to talk. If you just come out, I just want to talk to you. You wanted to talk? Well, here I am. What is it you wanted to say? Look, Damien, I know you think you're doing the right thing, but you have not thought this through. Hercules does not care about you. He wants to use you. He doesn't see you for your hidden talent. And if he does, he only wants to use it to serve him. Following someone like him has a cost. You're wrong. You don't know him like I do. He is not some villain. He has a vision for all of GTW. One where this company can thrive with only the best competitors in the world. Damien, He deliberately injured Brenda Bison so she would lose her belt. They were both competing in the same match. He ordered Amber to take out the witch. The witch wanted a casket match. Now she is the victim when she gets hurt? He had you kidnapped, hostage against your will, Damien. And not once harmed me. Not once mistreated me. I was more of a guest than a hostage, and for a higher purpose. A higher purpose for what? To groom you? Fine. Then let me ask you this. What did Amanda Price do to deserve to be ambushed by Archangel? To be given a head injury on purpose outside the ring before competing for the women's title? What did Amanda do? She got in their way. Damien, this is crazy. You got Stockholm Syndrome. You're not thinking clearly. Let me help you. I like you, Steve. You've always been nice to me. I know you're trying to help me, but I don't need it. I made my choice. So I will give you this one and only warning. Stay out of my way, or there will be consequences. And it seems Damian Elliott has just made his bed. Stephen Dynamite just trying to help him, trying to look out for this young man, and Damian Elliott now completely siding with Hercules and the old gods. All the more making this personal for Stephen Dynamite going into our main event tomorrow night at Survivor Games. Stephen Dynamite will be teaming up with Dio Sebastian, The Witch, and Amanda Price against Hercules, Archangel, Amber Charlotte, and Rebecca Troy in a 4 vs 4 War Elimination match. That's going to be a 4 vs 4 tag team elimination match for tomorrow night's main event at our pay-per-view Survivor Games, which will be live streaming here at Infinite Fantasy if at twitch.tv starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central tomorrow night. We still got coming up our women's tag team title match between Truth and Consequences and Havoc. But before we get into that, after this break, Victoria Wong will be backstage with a one-on-one interview with Bad Boy Benjamin Bourne. Victoria Wong here with Benjamin Bourne. Tomorrow night you are set to take on Catalysm for the hardcore title in a no DQ match. What is your strategy going into tomorrow night's championship match? Well, that would be stupid of me to say on live television for Catalysm to watch, honestly. Though, I thought I'd just hit him really hard with a chair or a 2x4, maybe throw him through a table or two. I don't know. I just want to hurt the guy. Chosen is not my favorite person, but he did not deserve what happened to him. Thankfully, his injuries were minor, surprisingly, and will be back very shortly. I can't tell you how lucky he was after that ambush. And when he comes back, Mr. Intercontinental Champion will be greeted by the new Hardcore Champion, courtesy of Bad Boy Benjamin Bourne. But tomorrow is not about the belt. Catalysm crossed the line, so I'm going to draw him a new one and whack him across the head with it. See you at Survivor Games, pal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Coming up, we got the Women's Tag Team Championship on the line as Adrian Nevermore and Madison Payne will be defending against the team of Truth and Consequences, Dorothy and Tiffany Lane, coming right here on Dystopia. And here they are, the Lane sisters, Dorothy and Tiffany, making their way to the ring. Together they form Truth and Consequences. After winning the #1 contender match Wednesday night on Brawl, they will now be facing Havoc for the women's tag team titles. And this is going to be everything of a horror show coming up, as both teams have this eerie gimmick about them. Madison Payne and Adrian Nevermore, known for their horror movie style, their psychotic breakdowns in the ring, going against two women who will absolutely match them, Dorothy and Tiffany Lane. That's something from a Stephen King's novel, now entering the ring right here in Dystopia. You can see the focus in their eyes. There's absolutely no play going on with these two. There's only one thing on their mind, and that's winning the tag team gold here tonight. And here comes one half of Havoc, one half of the women's tag team champions, Adrian Nevermore, making her way to the ring. Ever since her and Madison Payne have debuted in GTW, they have been dominating the women's tag team division, recently defeating the Syndicate only a few weeks ago to attain the tag team titles. This will be their first title defense here tonight, here in Jersey City. And here comes her tag team partner, Madison Payne. And you can see that this is anything but serious for this lady right here. You see in her eyes that psychotic mental breakdown ready to happen. She is looking to distribute pain. To her, this is not about defending the gold. She only wants to inflict torture onto her opponents, and the belt is nothing more than a tool to enable her to get in the ring and do it. Probably the crazier out of the two between her and Adrian Nevermore. You can see she's completely unhinged, and it will take someone like Truth and Consequence, the Lane sisters, to match her crazy in this ring tonight.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall, and is for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Introducing the challengers, Dorothy Lane and Tiffany Lane. Truth and Consequences. And their opponents, the Women's Tag Team Champions, Adrian and Madison Payne. Havoc.
And here we have the Women's Tag Team Champions ready to defend their titles for the very first time here in Jersey City against Truth and Consequences. The referee holding the belts up. That's the prize right there. What it's all about tonight in this competition. Looks like we're going to start off with Adrian Nevermore and Dorothy Lane as the first two legal women in this tag team title matchup. Adrian Nevermore goes for a super kick. Dorothy Lane immediately counters with a leg sweep, putting Adrian Nevermore into a submission hold right off the bat. And there's Adrian Nevermore throwing those punches onto Dorothy Lane. She goes for a right cross. Dorothy Lane counters, but Adrian Nevermore persists and now knocks Dorothy Lane right off her feet. And here she comes off the top rope. Hurricanrana by Adrian Nevermore. He grapples up. Here comes the Irish whip into the corner, and there's Madison Payne attacking Dorothy Lane from behind as Adrian Nevermore goes to work, trapping Dorothy Lane into the corner there. And here she goes, dragging Dorothy Lane towards another turnbuckle, slamming her head right into it. Dorothy Lane now reversing a chop to the chest. And like I said, it was going to take the match crazy in this tag team title matchup, and who better than Truth and Consequences, the Lane sisters. Dorothy Lane now getting the advantage, but no, here comes Adrian Nevermore reversing, once again Irish whipping, and now tags in Madison Payne. Havoc going for a double team maneuver onto Dorothy Lane with a double head toss. And now we have Madison Payne as the legal woman in the ring right now. Dorothy sliding out to the ring skirts, trying to catch a breather. Madison Payne, though, not letting up, meeting her outside, continuing the punishment on to the challenger. And also, another thing to think about is Havoc has the champion's advantage in this matchup. The titles do not change hands through count-out or disqualification. Madison Payne could keep this going for a full 10 seconds and still retain those titles. Now the woman taking it back in the ring. Madison Payne goes for the count. 1, 2, but no, Dorothy Lane kicks out. And Madison setting her up, stalking her opponent. And what a wild kick, swinging that foot into the bottom jaw of Dorothy Lane. She now gets to the second rope, waiting for Dorothy to get to her feet. And a high-flying move by Madison Payne. Dorothy gets the hot tag onto her sister, Tiffany, now the legal woman, as she takes on Madison Payne in this tag team title matchup. And where Dorothy was losing momentum, Tiffany catching right on, now having the advantage over Madison Payne. Truth and Consequences now going on the offensive in this tag team match. And there's a corkscrew reversal by Madison Payne, taking Tiffany down. Tiffany now go for a kick to the midsection. And a huge body slam by Tiffany Lane. Both women. No, Madison Payne gets the tag on Adrian Nevermore. Tiffany immediately draws her attention onto Nevermore, knocking her down with a drop kick. And there's Tiffany now tagging in her sister Dorothy. We're back to the first two women who started off this tag team match. Adrian Nevermore bouncing off that top rope into a reverse moonsault onto Dorothy Lane. With Dorothy now coming in with her seat, a wheelbarrow into a DDT. An amazing maneuver by Dorothy here as she now Irish whips Nevermore into the corner. Before Dorothy could close in, Adrian Nevermore comes in hot with an elbow right to the face, fighting back, followed by a body slam. And Now she makes the tag to Madison Payne. Madison Payne comes in with a flying elbow onto Dorothy. And a DDT by Madison Payne, taking out Dorothy Lane. Tiffany breaking out the count before the referee can even get the hand onto the mat. And here's Madison Payne sizing up Dorothy. And here comes the pin. 1, 2, and Dorothy kicks out the last moment. You can see the frustration on Madison Payne. She thought she had this right there. You can hear the excitement from a sold-out crowd here in Jersey City as they're screaming out tag team wrestling. Madison Payne going for a cross-body drop, however misjudged her distance. Luckily for Dorothy, she now has a chance to recuperate and try and capitalize on this. Madison Payne, though, looking to attempting to tackle Dorothy. Dorothy getting the counter, and thanks to a double team attack by Truth and Consequences, Dorothy now has the advantage in this match. She throws Madison Payne into the corner, tagging in Tiffany. Tiffany now getting to the top rope. And Dorothy launching Tiffany across the ring as she flies right into Madison Payne. Tiffany now going for the count. 1, 2, but Madison Payne kicks out. And there's Tiffany taunting her opponent, something she may not want to be doing with such a high prize on the line. And she spears Madison Payne out of the ring, and Tiffany now drawing her attention onto Adrian Evermore. Both the tag team champions are knocked outside the ring, courtesy of Tiffany Lane. And now Adrian Nevermore coming back for seconds. And here comes Tiffany Lane, coming on that top turnbuckle. She goes to fly out the ring, but misses. Madison Payne dodging. And a huge high-risk maneuver just came with a high consequence for Tiffany Lane. Madison Payne slamming her head into the steel ring post there, nearly knocking her lights out. And Madison Payne continues the assault as she slams Tiffany into the announcer's desk. These two women getting a little too close for comfort, both for a moment fighting in the timekeeper's area. Tiffany now in the ring. Tiffany tagging in Dorothy. And Truth and Consequences win by a ring out. Unfortunately, it was by a ring out, and Truth and Consequences do not win the tag team titles. It seems Madison Payne had remembered that little stipulation when it comes to the champion's advantage, that the title does not change hands by ring outs, and has purposely stayed out of the ring in order to retain the tag team titles. A brilliant strategy by the tag team champions, though losing the match, still remain champions. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away because we got one more match on the card tonight, our main event. Amber Charlotte will be in a qualifying match for the Survivor Games Gauntlet match to determine the final woman who will be entering in the Gauntlet Turmoil. However, the catch-22 on this matchup is Amber Charlotte will not know her opponent. This will be a complete mystery opponent. We're going to find out who Amber Charlotte will be facing next on Dystopia.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring representing the Old Gods from Adelaide, Australia, the Warrior Princess, Amber Charlotte.
Amber Charlotte getting a second chance to qualify for the Women's Survivor Games Gauntlet matchup tomorrow night on pay-per-view. Charles Elliott being true to his word about being fair even to the Old Gods. However, here's the catch. Charles Elliott said that there was another wrestler who has been screwed out of an opportunity a long time ago and is giving her an equal opportunity to get redemption here tonight. But the question is, who is Amber Charlotte's opponent? You gotta be wondering what's going through her mind, as she had absolutely no chance to scout who her competitor will be in tonight's main event. Enough of these games. Whoever this mystery opponent is, let's get this over with. I have a title to win. Oh no, it isn't. It isn't. You gotta be kidding me. She's supposed to be on the injury list. She can't be cleared.
Russia, the assassin.
There's no way.
Brenda Bison.
Brenda Bison is back. How? She was completely she had multiple fractured ribs, and here she is, standing on the entranceway, making her way to the ring, looking to qualify to take back what's hers. This is what Charles Elliott meant by giving someone else who lost an opportunity a chance at redemption. Brenda Bison has returned, and she's looking to qualify for tomorrow's match to win back her Women's Championship. And you can see she looks absolutely livid. This is going to be a battle for the ages. I can only imagine how badly Brenda Bison wants to get back at the Old Gods for causing her to be stripped from her Women's Championship. And what sweeter victory would there be than to not only prevent Amber Charlotte from making the Survivor Games Women's Gauntlet, but to be able to compete and win it herself and take back the Women's Championship. I gotta say, this is quite a surprise. I don't know how she managed to get cleared after the extent of her injuries. I also gotta be asking, is Brenda Bison coming into this 100%? Will she be able to fight at full capacity? And what long-term effects will this have being in the ring here tonight? And it seems that Amber Charlotte already taking advantage of a not 100% Brenda Bison. And Bison using that technical skills to sweep Amber Charlotte right off her feet. And there's Bison going for a clothesline. Amber Charlotte with a double kick to the face of Brenda Bison. As surprising as this is, I can only imagine how happy Amber Charlotte found out that her opponent is someone with a fractured rib injury, and will probably take full advantage of it here tonight. With Brenda Bison not backing down, as she has, well, she had Amber Charlotte into the corner, but Amber Charlotte aggressively fights back against Brenda Bison. And there's Amber working on the ribs of Amber Charlotte, trying to play on that injury that she suffered in the hands of Hercules. An injury that has caused her time out of the ring, that has caused her to be stripped of her women's title. Amber Charlotte immediately going for the pin. Brenda Bison immediately kicking out. And here comes Amber Charlotte with her finals carry. Brenda Bison doing her best to fight back. Amber Charlotte going for the shot to the ribs. Brenda Bison giving the receipt. And then two women now going back and forth in a test of will and strength. Amber Charlotte with the advantage though. You can tell Brenda Bison is now fighting at full capacity. Amber Charlotte going for the pin. 1, 2. But Brenda Bison kicks out. And there's Amber Charlotte sizing her up. The Amazon DDT by Amber Charlotte, her finisher move. And Brenda Bison manages to kick out. You can see that her body is not keeping up right now, but her will is still strong. She's still willing to take this match to the limit. And here comes a tombstone by Amber Charlotte. Now she gets to the second rope. Double axe handle right across the ring. Right into the chest of Brenda Bison. And here comes Amber Charlotte coming off the ropes with a double dropkick right into the side temple of Brenda Bison. And now she continues to work on those injuries. And here she is taking the match outside the ring. Continuing to tear Brenda Bison apart. You can understand Brenda Bison wanting to qualify for the Survivor Games Gauntlet match now to take back her championship match. But this is ludicrous. She has not been cleared to wrestle. Her injury is still very prevalent in this qualifying matchup. And here she goes, sizing her up. Here comes Amber Charlotte with another Amazon DDT outside the ring. Amber Charlotte quickly getting in the ring, trying to win this by countout. Brenda Bison completely out of it. And Amber Charlotte wins by a countout, playing on those injuries of Brenda Bison. However, this does leave one conundrum for Amber Charlotte winning this qualifying match. This means she will have to compete in 2 different matches tomorrow night. She'll have to compete in both the Gauntlet and the main event tomorrow at the pay-per-view. However, despite having to do double duty tomorrow on Survivor Games, you can see the look of pleasure on her face, the look of discontent, as she now has guaranteed that Brenda Bison will not be able to compete in the Survivor Games Gauntlet match tomorrow night. Before we go, remember, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central, we have our next pay-per-view event, Survivor Games, with two Gauntlet Turmoil matches. One to determine the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, and another one to determine the new Women's Champion of GTW. We will also be having the Dudleys versus the Hardys in a 30-minute Iron Man table match for the tag team titles. Benjamin Bourne will be challenging Catalysm in a Extreme Rules match for the Hardcore title. Our mid-card will be having Asuka versus Jennifer Love. And our main event, the Old Gods versus Dio Sebastian, The Witch, Steven Dynamite, and Amanda Price in a 4 vs 4 tag team elimination match. For those of you watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Infinite Fantasy signing out. May your fantasies be infinite.